So you're known of the appelsintje reclame, Broad Daylight.
Yeah. Well, I'm really lucky that that commercial took off in that time, because before that we were playing in Holland, but not like subsequently, where we played the Paradiso and we sold it out just because of that. So in one way, I think it brought so many people to our concert, and then we could give them the other music that we make, so.
But you have so much more that you could give the audience.
Especially now, I mean, I'm playing with two musicians who are actually Dutch, but I met them in New York. I've been meaning to come back with this stuff, because it's cool to give a second chapter. I mean, people, like you said, know one thing, and this is.
So what's the other thing?
Well, I moved to New York City for 3 years and decided to strip everything down and move to a place where English was the main language. I moved to Belgium when I was 17, and it was great for the music, but sooner or later you get a little isolated. I think just in terms of language you get isolated. And New York City is still a city where you can go into a place and catch, 7 bands or 7 singer-songwriters performing in one night. So there is an audience walking in and out of venues. So what I mean by that is just moving to New York City and starting to play is going to change your songs, because you become...
It was a really big difference for you.
Yeah, you get the pressure that you have to join the group of people who is performing that evening, and you have to...
But you didn't have the pressure here in Europe.
No, because in Belgium and in Holland there is not really that much of a street level music scene in terms of going in and out of places. At least in Belgium, I think Holland is very similar. You have a single on the radio, and then you can play the clubs, and then you play festivals. I went, because of Broad Daylight, from being virtually unknown to playing festivals in 1 year. And in New York, obviously, that's not the case. You have to build your songs. You have to start to attract people. So
but you need that pressure.
Yeah, I needed it. Some people don't need it. I needed it because I also changed what I was doing. It became more about the song and about writing songs, simply about the guitar and the vocal. But then I met Ruben and Amber, who are originally from Holland, but they were studying in the Manhattan School of Music, and that's a bass and cello. So we became a trio. And whatever didn't pass the test of those 3 instruments, we just left it out.
So moving to New York changed your way of making music,
Yeah.
but did it change you as a person?
Completely, yeah. I mean, I'm also much older now than when I started. I mean, I'm not necessarily interested in performing as entertainment anymore, although I think it always is sort of entertainment, but I don't want to do anything else than sing and try to make the best songs I can make. And I love what I do now. I fell in love with this kind of work. In the beginning, when you're young, it's like, let me see what I can do with these tools, and let's take these beats and let's make a record and let's make a video. Now it's not like that. Now it's, let me make the best song I can make, because I've seen people's faces when you get in there, and I can't forget that. That's what I want to do. Everything else is not important. Yeah.
So is your image different here in Europe, Holland, Belgium, than in New York?
In New York, it was exotic to them when they found out that we came from Europe, and here it's exotic that I come from Puerto Rico. So it depends where how you're looking at it. But what is true is that for now there is not a lot of Spanish repertoire in what I do. I hope in the future. But then for that I would have to move to Puerto Rico or to a country where Spanish is spoken, because it's interesting. The language is really important. Everybody speaks English these days. That's why we're doing this in English. I'm sorry, ik spreek Nederlands, maar het is
nou dat is veel gemakkelijker in het Nederlands.
Voor u. To say what you really want to say, yeah, especially in music, I find English right now to be, I don't know, I can't get rid of it,
Nou, toch in het Nederlands. Als je dadelijk op het podium staat,
Ja.
hoe wil je dan dat het publiek zich voelt?
Ik wil alleen dat ze luisteren. Ik weet niet of dat er een groot verschil is tussen wat ik hoor en het publiek hoort. Als ik een song maak, dan...
Maar wat is dan het gevoel wat je probeert over te brengen?
There is not one feeling. Er zijn veel gevoelens. Dat hangt ervan af. Al die songs zijn anders, maar er is wel één geluid en dat is cello, bass en gitaar en vocal.
Maar Als nou mensen dadelijk naar buiten lopen naar jouw concert, wat moeten ze zeggen dat jij denkt als artiest, ja, nou ben ik echt tevreden. Dat is waar ik het voor doe.
Het is wat ik zie als ik aan het spelen ben. Nadien weet ik niet meer, dat is mijn terrein niet meer. Maar op dat moment zelf aan het spelen, ik zie dat, ik voel dat. We hebben grote festivals gespeeld in de zomer en onze droom was kleine muziek te brengen in festivals op een grote manier. Luid, op een luide manier. Stille dingen op een luide manier te spelen. I know it's a contradiction, maar zoiets. En ik heb het in de gezichten van de mensen gezien. Als ze aan het luisteren zijn, in het begin denken ze, ah shit, gaat dat zo 1 uur zijn van die stille muziek? Maar het is gelijk met alles, je wordt alles gewoon. Dus na 10 minuten, de gezichten beginnen te veranderen. Want we geven de mensen iets anders. We hebben geen drums, Dus het is eigenlijk wel een experiment. Want soms lukt dat totaal niet. Hè? En dan you fall on your face. And that's okay. I think if I was younger, I couldn't probably handle it. Because there would be a lot of pressure. Maar nu wil ik op die randje zitten. Van gaat dat lukken of gaat dat niet lukken? We weten dat nooit.
En nou tour je heel veel. Je bent heel veel onderweg. Which place do you call home?
Musically or personally? Because it's a big difference.
Personally, of course.
Right now it's Belgium. I've lived there since I'm 17 and that's where my friends are. It's amazing how a place sort of absorbs you. Puerto Rico is not my home anymore, and that's a very strange feeling because I was born there and I lived there until I was...
So are you going to see your friends now you're in the neighborhood?
Yeah, but the weird thing when you go away is that everybody moves on, you know, people start families and I see them. I'm pretty much on my own though, you know, when you bring out a record there's a lot of work and I really enjoy playing and then going home and watching movies and reading and I don't do much else than just work.
So one last question. You have also here in Bruis, Maastricht, heel veel vrouwelijke fans.
Ah, really? Is that a fact? And what's the question?
What's the statement?
No statement. I'm actually noticing that the audiences, more than before, are more mixed. And more boyfriends are saying, oh, I kind of liked it. Instead of just like having to accompany their girlfriends and stand there with a face like, I want to go home and watch the game. I think that there is a direct connection with music for women. A sort of emotional connection that is more direct. I don't say that it's not in men, but with women it is that way, I think. So I will be very happy if the men like it, but I will still need to know if the women like it. That's just the truth.